2 weeks in the book for you now and your position, your thoughts?
We're pretty good on offense. We got some good players, man. This is a lot of fun. That's it. We're pretty good. If I don't screw it up, we'll be pretty good. If we don't get too big-headed and we do the right stuff, we ought to be pretty good, I think.
Yeah, and Brandon wasn't in today. He had apparently an exam. I'm thinking teachers that schedule exams on Friday evenings, that's a bad thing.
It's an awful thing,
yeah.
You know. I mean,
but
it doesn't work as good without him out there. So, but that's perfect. I mean, you know, the other guys needed the 2-minute work, so that was fine. So to get Clint out there and Johnny, so that was good.
Well, and while we're on that, that's a key thing is finding who the number 2 guy is and trying to get those guys reps. That's a competitive situation too, I would assume.
I think it's hard. It is. It's hard to determine, in my mind, a backup quarterback, because a lot of times they end up going with the backups in every other position. So not only are they learning, but so is every other position guy that's in there with them. So it's like if they get 5 reps, okay, a couple of them, maybe there's an O-line bust, a receiver bust, they're not processing it right. I mean, how many plays do they really get to operate? And that's hard. That's hard to dissect. Whether it's them, whether it's somebody else. I think that's why you just got to keep going. And we need to probably have to find more ways to get those guys with some of our ones so they have a chance to operate and we can actually figure out who the backup is. Right now it's Clint, but you know, figure that out.
All right, the thing I was going to go to is obviously you're trying to keep this thing rolling the way it was. At the same time, you know as well as I do that there's some things you can bring to the table and maybe add to it. Have you put in any tweaks or is it too early for you to maybe tweak some things, you know, with some things you could bring with you?
Well, a bunch of it's been tweaked because there's no way to run somebody else's offense. Now, with that being said, the majority of what we're doing, we're assessing what we like and dislike. And we don't want to break something that doesn't need to be broken. So, but with that, I can't coach something I don't know. So that's just the way it is. That's any business. So with that, we've tweaked a couple of the different concepts. But the majority of it, we're just assessing what we like formationally, personnel-wise, and then we'll go from there.
Judging from your first comment, the other guys on staff who've been around and the players, especially an older quarterback like Brandon, they must have the same approving opinion the first couple of weeks that you do.
Oh, I don't have any idea. I hope so.
You don't get the feedback from them?
Oh, I don't. I'm always afraid to get feedback from guys because I don't know what they're going to say. You know, they might tell me my hair is too long. They might say that I'm too old and I swear too much. I don't know. I don't know what their opinion would be. But, you know, I mean, the bottom line is if you change and you tweak things and then they work, then they're approved, right? And then if it doesn't, they look at you like, why in the hell are we changing this? So, I mean, you know, it's just, hey, over time, we'll tweak it, we'll run their stuff, and then if it has success, everybody likes it. It's like when I go to Vegas. If I win it at one casino, I love that casino and I go back to it. You know, if I don't, then I don't ever want to go back to it. I hate it.
All right, so far, there were a lot of things about this offense you knew going in. Have there been any surprises? And I'm talking pleasant surprise. Anything like, wow, I didn't know that guy was really as good as he was. And now I hear the running backs have really had a good spring so far. I mean, any surprises to you from what you thought you would see?
I guess the surprises, I wouldn't say completely surprised. I think the running backs have looked good. If you went beyond the, you know, Whedon, Blackman's, Cooper, you know, Hubert, if you went beyond that, you'd say the running backs, I think, have had a real good start. I think the other guys that when you look at them, you're not sure about them, the Michael Harrisons, the Tracy Moores, the Justin Hortons, you know, those kind of guys, the Colton Shelfs, those guys that you're like, boy, they just don't look like much, you know, they don't fit, but they've made a lot of plays, they compete, they like to practice, have a great mindset. I think those guys can really help us.
Wickline in the offensive line, that's a new guy for you to work with. He wasn't here previously.
No, Joe's been great, you know. And it's been great. And heck, he makes a lot of money. He'll be able to coach the hell out of him. You know, I mean, he got a nice raise, so he ought to be coaching the hell out of him. But he does a heck of a job. And those guys, having all of them back, every player back, you know, and he's got a real good feel for running the ball and then mixing in what was done and what we may want to evolve to. And even the offense last year evolved throughout the year. It went from more one back to more some 3-back and 2-back and play action. I mean, even in 1 year, the offense shifted for what its focus was. So that's the same what we're doing. I mean, eventually, when we're here now, this isn't that offense, it's our offense. It's what it is. When he was here, it wasn't Leach's offense, it's Dana's offense. So when someone else takes it, it's their offense. Wherever you go from somewhere else, you learned what you know from someone else. Like I said, if I would have left Jacksonville run that offense, that's no longer Dirk Cutter's offense. That's what I do now. That's what you do. Because ultimately, we'll be judged based on how we move it now, so it'll be ours.
Are you happy personally with your move from NFL back to the college ranks?
Oh yeah, I mean that'd be kind of a bummer if I said no. Hell, I've been here 6 weeks.
Back in
I wish I was in
yeah.
Jacksonville in the sun and
Sure.
in the NFL. Boy, what a mistake that was. No, I mean I knew exactly what I was getting into. We always enjoyed being here. We've said that before, and working for Mike. That's it was different then, but hey, this place is different, and we got damn good players. That makes it a lot of fun. I've always said that I can coach anywhere. We got really good players, got good coaches, and a chance to beat anybody on the schedule, and that's what we have.
How would you characterize your relationship with him? Is it more like an NFL type relationship, just in terms of how mature he is?
Yeah, because the guy checks off on plays out there that we haven't even talked about checking off on. I mean, so obviously our relationship, he's taking that to another level. But no, I mean, it is different that way, and he understands that, And it is. He's an older guy. He understands his role in the whole process. And he, like I've always said, he can communicate to you what he likes and dislikes. And but yet he's not enough, to where if I'm not doing it exactly the way someone else was. So it's a process, but we're getting along great. It's
so for a month or so before he announced he was coming back, Gundy kept saying, if he'll come back, he'll be a better quarterback a year later when he goes into the draft. So what can he get better at? What do you see him getting better at? I see you working a lot on their footwork. Is that something that he was lacking in?
I don't know if he was lacking in that. It's just keeping it up. I mean, bigger, longer guys have a tendency to get their stride and lose a little bit of their foot quickness, so that's something you just want to keep going. I think what he can do is, one thing he's going to get better at just by being in the offense another year and another off season is the things that I know I was being silly about it, but the game slowing down to where he checks into something that wasn't even something we had. It's just that part of the game that the process, making decisions, I think is the biggest thing, is how much faster he can process, and then we're working to get on the same page so he, understands what I'm thinking and why, So I think that's the biggest thing, is how fast he can process, how he can spit the ball out, how he can find his check downs, those kind of things. It's hard to improve. If you look statistically, it's hard because they didn't give up many sacks. They didn't really throw a lot of interceptions. High percentage, high QB ratings. So you're sitting there going, okay, well, what really? I mean, holy cow, But you can process things just a little bit faster, just in terms of making your decisions.